Welcome into another edition of the Stripe Show podcast. It is a Froggy Wednesday, and today we are joined by number 104 in the Fedex Cup standings. That means he is playing this week at the first event in the Fedex Cup, live from Memphis. Please welcome to the show. He has been on a hot run lately. It is Callum Tarren. Callum, thank you so much for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the pod.
So it's our first week of the FedEx Cup playoffs, coming off a great week at the Wyndham. I know you had a nice finish there, shooting 6 or 7 under on Sunday. If you could talk about the golf course a little bit there at the Wyndham and talk about how really, truly amazing it is. Tom Kim starts off with an 8 on the first hole of the event and ends up winning by 4 shots. How miraculous is that comeback coming from another tour player?
Yeah, so the golf course was really, really nice. It was in great shape, and I think there was a premium on hitting fairways. And then once you got it in the fairway, the greens there's so much undulation in the greens that I think you need to be really clever with your approaches. There was flags that you could go after, but then there was times that you were just hitting to a spot where you could try and make par from. But yeah, the golf course was incredible. Greens were probably the best I've put it on this year, actually, in regards to the coverage. They were just beautiful. But yeah, I seen that on, I think it was Thursday. He started with a quad, and ended up shooting 3 under, and I was like, holy moly, that's some golf.
That's insane. I mean, to give up 4 shots on your first hole. On the first hole, you're now 4 over par. And you got 35 holes left just to try to make the cut is ridiculous. And then to do what he did, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, to go on and win from making quad at the first is just incredible. And hats off to him for doing that. Obviously, he's one of the players that was a non-member and managed to get to the playoffs, which is awesome. And now he's a winner, and he gets to go to the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii, and yeah, it's an incredible feat for Tom.
It is. I love to see these young guys like this, and we'll get more into the other stuff that's going on later on in the podcast here. But I keep saying this, that people who think the tour is in trouble because of the people that are leaving, the guys that are here, that would be you as well, the young guys that are coming up, there is so much talent out there, and there's so much talent for us to learn and see that the PGA Tour is in a wonderful spot. And there are guys that do want to play on the PGA Tour, and they will be given the arena in which to show how amazing they are at golf just as much as the guys who are leaving. So the tour is in a really, really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I said this a few weeks ago in an interview. Golf will keep producing stars of the game. Look what happened with Cameron Young, Will Zalatoris, Scotty Scheffler, all coming from Corn Ferry.
Right.
To be top 10 players in the world, and personally, that's gonna keep happening. So I believe, like you said, the PGA Tour is in a great position, and this next graduating class from the Corn Ferry, I guarantee you, if it doesn't happen right away, in a couple of years' time, one of them will be a big star. So yeah, I'm very honoured to be a PGA Tour member. I've always wanted to get to the PGA Tour, and having played my first season out there as a rookie, and obviously managing to keep my card, I couldn't be happier. It's such a wonderful platform, and it's just incredible. It really is.
Let's talk about your rookie season and that you've had. I know it didn't start off exactly probably the way that you wanted it to start off, but here recently, you've had one hell of a run that I believe really people started to take notice after 33 holes at the U.S. Open. You were leading the U.S. Open, and I think that's where people kind of said, "Hey, this Callum Tarren kid is pretty damn good at golf." Talk about your come up to the PGA Tour. For us, it started at the U.S. Open. For you, it obviously started long before that.
Yeah, so when I graduated college, I went to Radford in Virginia. Graduated in 2014, and while I was at college, I always wanted to turn professional. So I went home after I graduated, kind of tried to figure a few things out, mainly how I was going to be able to afford to play professional golf. Few sponsors at the time, a few people had said they were going to help me out. It never really materialised. And I worked that full summer of 2014 and pretty much all of 15. I was just trying to save as much money as I could, cleaning golf carts and working at a golf course.
Wow.
And then I decided to go to PGA Tour of China Q School in, I think it was January of 16. I always remember I didn't have much money in the bank, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go.
Right.
And I think back then it might have cost maybe £3,500 or dollars to obviously attend Q School over there, flights, accommodation, and yeah, I just kind of went for it. I went all in, and managed to get a card, and then yeah, I
So did you play on PGA Tour China?
Yeah, I did for 3 years. Yeah, well, 2 years actually, because my first year in 16 it was PGA Tour of China. Then 17, there was I think it was the Chinese government or golf association blocked the PGA Tour of China from happening. So I did the CGA Tour, which that season you got a full European Tour card if you won the money list. And then 18 it came back, and that was the last year it was actually PGA Tour of China because of all the things that have happened over the last couple of years.
Right.
So I got out at the right time. Perfect.
How were you able to get out of there? Did you win? Were you able to lead the money list?
My first year in 16, I made every cut that season, but I kept finishing 45th, 30th, not putting good results together, but just making cuts and kind of getting my feet wet. And at the end of that season, I think there was like an 8-week stretch where it was 8 tournaments in a row, and I finished second, 7th, second in my last 4 events, and I actually finished 7th on the money list that season. But because I hadn't entered final stage of Q School when the deadline was, I actually couldn't go to final stage. So that was kind of a learning curve, and obviously learning the nuances about when you have to enter Q School and where I was on the money list at the time and which stage I could actually enter. So that season I kind of missed out, but then came back in 18, played the CGA Tour, and I doubled my last hole of the last event to miss out on a full European Tour card. So I ended up finishing 3rd on the points list that season. So then I obviously had a bee in my bonnet going into 18, and Charlie Saxon, a good friend of mine, he started off, I think he went win, second. So his lead was pretty much huge. It was almost like he'd already won the money list.
Right.
And that season, I think I had 5 seconds. And it came down to the last event, the last round. I didn't know this at the time, but I ended up shooting 64 in the final round, 8 under in Hong Kong.
Damn.
And I came second, solo second, and Charlie had to finish outside the top 25, tied with 4 other guys. He finished 27th, and I finished solo second to obviously win the money list in China that season.
Wow.
To give me fully exempt status in 19 on the Corn Ferry Tour. Yeah.
Damn. So you play on the Corn Ferry Tour. You finally get your chance to get on the PGA Tour, which, like you said, was your dream to finally play on the PGA Tour. And it was a bit of a rough start. Was it because was there a nerve factor? Was it just the difference in the talent level? Like what exactly changed until now where you're really having amazing results?
Yeah, I think it's a number of things. Getting used to a different environment, new golf courses, obviously a total different level of competition. I actually started that season really well. My first event in the Bahamas, in Exuma, I came 11th. So
let me guess, the wind was blowing about 35 or 40 miles an hour every single day.
Oh yes, it was brutal.
I played that golf course. It's all on the back nine's all on the ocean, and I swear it feels like every single hole is crosswind. It never changes.
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, the 3 years I've been there, I mean, it's just crazy how windy it is. I mean, just an example. There's a par 3 in the corner. I think I want to say 13 or 12, and it's like 110 yards downhill, probably 12 to 15 yards downhill.
Yep.
And it was blown into you're right on the ocean.
Yep.
And I remember hitting 5-iron from like 90 yards. And it was so windy, I was just trying to literally like bump and run a 5-iron along the floor so the wind wouldn't touch it.
So here, I'm going to hold this.
Crazy.
It's funny you mentioned that hole. That's me playing that hole right there.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I know exactly what hole you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful golf course, but I swear the flags, I don't know how the flag sticks aren't permanently just bent over, because it looks like they're almost about to touch the ground most of the time.
Correct, yeah. So I had a good start to my Corn Ferry season, but it just, yeah, I don't know. I did one of my friends caddying. He used to play professional golf, so he did the first 6 events with me, and then him and his partner at the time we were having a baby, so he kind of had no choice than to stop caddying. So I kind of scrambled around for a while. I actually employed my current caddy for 2 events, and we finished, I think we had 2 top 20s, a 16th and a 15th. And then he won't mind me saying this, but it was a decision between him and another guy who I ended up staying with for 2.5 years. So we did okay. But that first season, I actually ended up finishing 81st. So I technically lost my card. So I had to go back to Q school in Orlando, at Orange County National.
Right.
And there's quite a funny story about that as well. So I go back to Q school. Obviously, I still will have some starts in 20. But obviously, with the Corn Ferry Tour, you don't want to be in that conditional status. You want to have as many guaranteed starts as possible. So I went out first round of Q school, and I was 4 under through 12, and I ended up shooting 4 over. So I went I remember looking at the board, and not that I was leaderboard checking, but obviously just to see where I was. And yeah, I think I was top 10 at the time, and I ended up, after the round was finished, I was like, I think I was 147th, and I was like, what's just happened?
Right.
And I remember that was probably one of the darkest days on a golf course for me. Just how deflated I felt after obviously playing really solid and then coming off and having a bit of a nightmare, well, a really big nightmare of a finish. But spoke to my coach. If I was ever close to tears, it will have been at that point. I didn't cry, but I was really close. And he just said to me, go and shoot 6 under, 6 under, 6 under, and you won't have nothing to worry about. And I think
easier
I shot
said
7.
than done.
Yeah, I shot 7.66. So I kind of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And ended up finishing, I think, 32nd. So I had guaranteed myself, I think it was the first 8 events. So that was a big turning point as well. And then obviously 20 and 21 was the COVID super season.
Right.
In 20, I played really solid. If there was a PGA Tour cards available in 20, in Portland, I would have been inside the top 25. So I was there or thereabouts. And then unfortunately, I kind of slipped out. I finished, I think, 40th on the points list in the regular super season. And then went to finals in 2021 and managed to lock my card up in the first 2 events, which was awesome.
So it's been a long road, as you can tell. It's not easy. And that's another reason I have an issue with some of the people who are going over to the other side, because to me, it's just the easy way out. And like Tiger said, there is no incentive to dig it out of the dirt. And we're talking to somebody here who has been there, who's dug it out of the dirt and now is seeing success. Now, number 104 in the FedEx Cup, has had a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th this year. Great finishes, leading the U.S. Open after 33 holes, which, how difficult was that? I know after 33 holes, then you didn't play that well on Saturday. Is that a nerves thing, or is it just golf?
Yeah, I mean, I played super nice first day, shot 3 under, and I can't remember exactly where I was, but I think I was inside the top 10. And then Friday, obviously the cameras are on me every hole, and it's weird. I felt so calm on Friday. I just felt really in control of my game and emotions, and I was just flatlined. And I went out and I think I birdied. I think I was 3 or 4 under through the first 8, and obviously I knew I was leading. Obviously the cameras are on me every shot, and people are going crazy. And yeah, I mean, I didn't finish that round how I wanted to, but Saturday was definitely. I mean, it was the hardest day of the 4 days at the US Open this year.
Right.
There was. I don't think there was any rain on Friday night, so the greens had gotten really crispy, and the wind blew, and it was legit US Open conditions. It was really tough.
Right.
And I just struggled. I just didn't play great, and maybe it was. I knew, obviously, having a good result at the US Open and the points, and I knew that I could put myself in a better position moving forward. But like you say, I can't put my finger if it was nerves. I mean, obviously, sometimes you feel nervous, but I didn't feel like I was super nervous. But yeah, I think I shot 70. I think I shot 6 or 7 over that day. So I kind of was very deflated after that round. But I knew that I was playing good golf and just to hang in there. And then I managed to back it up on Sunday with a 1 or 2 under par, which gave me a 30th position finish, which was nice. I had all my family there and everyone had a good time. So yeah.
Yeah, you've had some solid finishes of the 3M, the Rocket Mortgage, the Wyndham. With these solid finishes, Callum, have you given yourself the confidence that, you know what, I can play on this tour and I've got the game to win on this tour?
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, I honestly, I didn't start the season how I wanted to, but I knew my game was in a good position. I really did. It's not like I was shooting millions every week and missing cuts by 6, 7. I was missing them by 1, 2 on the number, and which is frustrating at times. But
yeah,
I think the turning point might have been the Honda. I managed to have a solid week at the Honda, and that was my first cut made, and got some points on the board. And I was like, right, now let's kick on from there. And since then, it's been pretty solid. Especially after the US Open. I mean, my game's been in a really good spot.
It has been. So the top 70 advance next week after this week's event. You played the golf course this week there. I know you played a couple practice rounds. You played yesterday. First round is tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about the golf course, and do you know exactly where you need to finish to move on to next week?
Yeah, the golf course is it's pretty similar to the last few weeks, actually. It's Bermuda. It's actually Zoysia fairways, Bermuda Greens, and Bermuda rough, which I personally don't like. I don't think many people like it because you fly it in the rough and it just sits to the bottom, and it's just it's just try and figure out the best way to get it around the green and make par. But I think there's an emphasis this week on hitting fairways. The greens are really small, so if you hit it in the fairways, you're going to have lots and lots of chances. And the way the golf course is set up, all the trouble, some golf courses you can kind of, if you hit it a long way, you can kind of overpower a golf course. But this one, the trouble just continues, as in trees, rough. There's no bailout. So you got to stand up and hit golf shots. So I think if I can drive it in the fairway this week, I'll be in good shape. Because right now it just feels like my game's in a spot where I haven't got big misses at the moment. I have a real good understanding of what the ball's doing, so I'm hitting plenty of good shots. I mean, in practice today, I played pretty nicely, and I'm excited what the week brings. But I honestly don't know where I have to finish to get to next week.
I mean, you obviously need to make up 34 slots. So, but if you have a high finish, you could make up way more than 34 slots and put yourself in a really nice position for next week.
Yeah. And I believe, I think there's double points this week or something. Someone was telling me.
I think that's how it works. I just know that the next 70 advance next week. So right now you're at 104. So 34 slots up will get you into next week's event. But a really high finish, you put another top 10 together like you've been doing. Hell, that'll put you, comfortably into next week and then give you a real chance at the tour champ.
Yeah. And over the last few weeks, I feel as though there's just a couple of things that have happened that haven't allowed me to really be. I mean, I've been in contention, but really sniff that lead and take the golf tournament. I feel as though me and my caddy are figuring figuring things out like really well at the moment. So as long as I can eliminate just these basic errors or just things that happen in golf, 3 putts from and getting up and down at the right time. I think by the end of the week, if I play like I have been, I might have a chance. Yeah, which, like you say, I mean, that's what I'm here for.
I mean, we all play golf, and we all obviously at a much different level than the level that you're playing at. I'm not by any means comparing our games, but we all play golf, and sometimes your score doesn't dictate where you're at in the game. Sometimes you can be shooting a high number, but feel like you're so close. It's just a little bit off, and then vice versa. Sometimes you don't hit it very well, but you get a lot out of your round. And so you're saying that right now you feel like you're really, really close to putting some good rounds together.
Yeah, I mean, over the last few weeks, a couple of great examples. I think final round of 3M, I was 3 over through 9 and managed to come back in 5 under. Similar, I think it was final round of Rocket Mortgage. I shot 7 under, which obviously moved me up a bunch of spots. And then last week, I shot 29 on the back nine, so 6 under on the back nine. I was level par going out. Nothing really happening, missed a couple of chances, and then all of a sudden, it just started happening, and that's the beauty of the game, And I feel as though my game at the moment, I'm making a lot of birdies, which is always a good sign. So I've just got to eliminate them little mental errors at times, and I think, I'll be in a good spot.
I mean, is this a week where making pars is not going to cut it? You're going to have to go out and make some birdies, take some chances?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. With the greens being fairly small, I mean, you know how good people are on the PGA Tour. It's ridiculous.
Right. It is ridiculous.
Someone's going to be shooting 20 under for sure. So, yeah, I think the emphasis for me this week's hitting them fairways and then being aggressive to these greens, because, like you say, if you hit the centre of the greens this week, you're going to have a lot of chances. And if there's, like you said, there's always tucked flags on the PGA Tour, but I think if you can just navigate your way around picking good targets, I think, you'll have plenty of chances and plenty of birdies will come.
Now, with you being at 104 and being in the top 125 as the season finishes, you are secured your card for next year, correct?
Yes.
So you're in for next year for most of the events. How exactly does that work?
I honestly don't know. I've been told that I'll get more events than I did this year. I'll be able to pick a schedule, so the likes of the Players, Waste Management.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure about the invitationals like Bay Hill, Memorial. I'll be close, and obviously the higher I finish up in the Fedex Cup, the more chance I'll have to get in these events.
Right.
So I'm just pretty pumped about being able to pick my schedule.
Have you played TPC Sawgrass here where the Players is?
Yes, I actually used to practice there quite a lot. So
did you really? We're like, I'm literally like 4 miles from there right now, where I'm actually in Ponte Vedra.
Nice.
Yeah. So you mentioned caddies a couple times, and I noticed that, and caddy has been a big topic lately. I know yesterday Ricky Fowler moved on from his caddy that he's been with for years and years. Will Zalatoris parted with his caddy, I believe, in the middle of the golf tournament last week at the Wyndham. So how important? And you mentioned that you had a caddy. He went somewhere else. Now he's back with you. How truly important is the caddy player relationship on the tour, and what causes that to go south and cause guys to split?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I've had some good guys. I've had, I think, 4 caddies work for me in my life in the professional game, and they've all helped me along the way, which I'm very grateful for. Thanks, caddies, for being there for me and obviously helping me out. But I think over time, it's like anything. We spend a lot of time with these guys, and if at times the relationship does get stressed with if things aren't going your way and you're making some mistakes. So I think that's a huge part of it. In the past, I've actually had caddies who I've been really close to off the golf course, but I think for me, I need that balance of having my own time as just me time and being away from my caddy. But the guy I've got right now, Ryan Boshoven, he's such a great dude. We're very similar, quite laid back, and we gel really well. There's a funny one. I can't remember where. Oh, it was it was the Valspar. I was playing really solid golf and ended up missing the cut by one. Long story short, I hit driver on this drivable par 4 and hit a tree, and the spotters couldn't find my golf ball in the rough, so I had to go back. And he actually thought his job was in jeopardy after that week. And I told him, I was like, dude, the job's yours for as long as you want it, because he's such a good dude. And I think that gave him peace of mind. But like you say, I mean, I don't know where he got that feeling from,
Right.
of thinking he was going to get fired. But yeah, it's just that I think it's just that we spend so much time with each other. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's a stressful environment. We're all trying to make money and points, and the decisions along the way are really important. So I think it's a strange narrative to explain, but yeah, like you say, some people need change in regards to the caddies. Like I know Will, him and his guy have had a great run. I mean, ridiculous run anyway. Cameron Young, I mean, he had a great run with his caddy and obviously changed. And yeah, I don't know Ricky, so I just, that's news to me. You've just told me that.
They've been together a long time. They just announced today they've split and gone their separate ways. I don't know who's going to caddy for Ricky. I know he's Mr. 125 this week there, so he'll play this week with and need a really good round and a good finish to get to 70. But I'm not sure what he'll do moving on. I can't imagine that his guy will have a hard time finding another bag. But it's a very stressful situation, and when there are times where there is lots of slow play on the golf course, and I know that's a real sticking point for you, it's kind of up to the caddy to kind of talk to you and keep you going when that slow play is getting in your head. And I've noticed something whether it was maybe it was the John Deere or maybe it was the U.S. Open, that there wasn't a lot of your shots on TV because it seems like when they tried to get to you, you were hitting. So is slow play something that bothers you? Has it been a problem on the tour?
Yeah, massively. I honestly think it's getting worse. And for myself, being in the Corn Ferry category, obviously there's different waves of tee times, and being in the Corn Ferry category, you always get the back end of either the morning wave or the afternoon wave. So I'm always at the back end of that wave, and I mean, over the last few weeks, it's been so painful. It's ridiculous, really. But I honestly don't know what they're doing to fix this, to make the game quicker, because the last few, I think one round last week took 5 hours, 50 minutes to play golf. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's way too long. I love the weekend when it's 2 balls off 1 tee, because it feels like that's the pace of play I like to play at. Usually get round in around 4 hours. I would personally like to play quicker, but when it's these 5.5, 6 hour rounds, it's really tough. I mean,
have you had any rounds? Have you had any rounds on the tour? It looked like at the John Deere there was some impatience going on. And once again, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just that some people like to get into a rhythm, and it's impossible to get into a rhythm if one of your playing partners is extremely slow. That might be their rhythm, but it's not your rhythm.
Yeah, and obviously these last few events, there's a lot on the line. So I don't know if guys think taking longer is going to help them, but I'm the total opposite. I'm a kind of guy, get the number and just go. But yeah, John Deere was an example. I think it was the final round in twosomes. Yeah, it was just slow. And like you said, these guys are trying to catch my shots on TV, but as soon as the guy I'm playing with he's hit, I'm in. Before the ball's landed, I'm probably about to pull the trigger. So it's kind of difficult for the guys who are trying to obviously catch my shots on TV. And I had a lot of messages at the US Open, asking me why I wasn't sure. And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe it's because I like to play quick and get on with it, and they haven't got time to get near me, which I don't mean to not be on TV, but I like to play at my pace,
Right. What's the fix for that? Is there a fix? Is the fix to start? Because can you dock one player and not the other, or do you dock the group? How does that work?
Well, you've got to. I honestly, personally think it's the same culprits week in, week out, and the amount of times I've had a rules official come up to me and say, drive up to the group, look at me, and either nod or wink because they know it's not me that's holding the group up, and then go to the other players and tell them that they've been warned. I mean, it happens nearly every week. So I think the rules officials know who the slow players are, but for me, they're not doing enough about it. I don't think there's anyone this year being fined or docked for slow play.
Are some players worse than others? Are there some guys that are just worse every single week?
Oh, 100%.
And you see when you're paired with them that you're like, oh, goodness, here we go.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to name names, but I know with guys who I've played with in the past who's slow and who's not. And I think they honestly know themselves. They probably don't like playing with me because I'm quick.
Right.
Because I'm almost going to put pressure on them to speed up because I'm trying to play at my pace.
I'm not paying attention to you. I'm trying to Google the final round of the John Deere to see who you played with. Is actually what I'm doing right now.
Oh, okay. I know who I played with.
I don't want you to say anybody's name and start a problem. I was just looking to see who it was because I have in my mind who some of the slow players are. And once again, I don't know if they're the same people that you guys know, but you know because you're out there, you're actually playing in the event.
Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, it gets brought up every week, especially when we're in these 6-hour rounds. We're talking between us about the slow play, but like you say, nothing ever seems to happen. And these rule changes with leaving the flag in and 3 minutes to look for a golf ball, that hasn't sped up play on the PGA Tour. No way. That hasn't helped. And personally, I don't believe 3 minutes is long enough to look for a golf ball on the PGA Tour, especially with everything that's riding on the results and people's careers. That's not the answer. Definitely not.
No, and also let's be honest. I just looked up the round 4 tee times. I'm not going to say who it is, but in that you were in the second to last group. There's a lot riding on that. I can see why you want to be in your rhythm and you want to play when you're ready to hit the golf ball. And if the other person needs more time, if it is within the realm of time, that's fine. But once it gets too long, something has to be done to where there are consequences when you are slowing down play for all the groups behind you. When you're the second to last group, you're slowing down the leaders.
Yeah. I mean, that final round, I think it was on the 6th hole. The guy I played with had some trouble, but on one of the holes, but we were way behind. We were 2 holes behind, and that's when the rules official came up to me and just nodded and winked and said, "Don't worry, you're doing fine," and then gave the guy a warning, which I
asked up after the warning. Could you tell the difference? No difference.
No, I asked him. I said, "What did he say?" And he said, "Oh, nothing. He just said to be just to try and get back in position." But I asked the rules official, "Did you warn him?" He's like, "Yes." So he kind of lied that he hadn't been warned. Exactly. Probably to I don't know, just say that he wasn't being slow. But we were 2-3 holes behind in a twosome on a Sunday. Like you said, that's not good enough.
No, that's not good.
They need to start dishing out either monetary fines or points fines.
What if you just took shots away? What if you die? You know, you are so far behind. Here's your warning. This is the clock. If you don't play in this amount of time, we're going to add a shot. I think if they start adding shots, I think you'll see a difference.
I do as well, because
I'm not sure if fining is the answer. You have to find an astronomical amount of money for it to matter.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, some of these guys who are slow, the money's not going to do anything. You know, they can afford to pay the fines, and over the course of a season, if they stick to their process, they probably think, well, I'm probably going to make that up in either points or money, so I can afford to pay it. But if you start docking shots, that gets points, money, and strokes, so it's all 3 in 1, which I think will or would help. But I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I mean that's something. Obviously, something. Have you brought that up to somebody on the pack?
Yeah, I have. I've played with a few guys on the pack, but I think it's above that. You know, it comes from, at the end of the day, it comes from rules officials as well. I mean, I don't want to dig them out, but half of the time they're sat in the trees on the phones. You know what I mean? I mean, it's true. It's true, and yeah, they're not paying enough attention for me. I mean, it's just not good enough.
Right. Speaking of everything else going on with the tour, so just this past week, there's a lot going on. This live thing's been going on for a while. This past week, they have now filed a lawsuit. 3 guys in particular, Gooch, Swafford, and Matt Jones, have filed. They want a injunction to be able to play this week in the event. As of right now, while I'm talking to you, that has not been approved. They will not be able to play this week.
Yeah.
What is the talk going on in the locker room? I know it has changed from when Liv first started to where we are now to now there's the lawsuit. Players really seem to have been more upset because the lawsuit has been filed. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. I went to the open questions with Commissioner Monaghan and Andy Pasner in 3M.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went because I was interested, and obviously at the time, I was in that position where I didn't know what was going to happen with the guys who joined Liv in regards to the Fedex Cup and things like that. So I kind of went just to get an answer for that. But in that meeting, I mean, by the sounds of it, all these players, they don't want these players to play on the PGA Tour at all. They feel as though they're double dipping. Obviously, they've signed with Liv for astronomical amounts of money, and then they want to come back and reap the rewards of obviously the PGA Tour platform, the FedEx Cup bonuses that are available. So it's double dipping, and by this, what I've heard in the locker room and just from players, caddies, yeah, they don't want them to be out here.
Right, and that's been my stand on along. If you want to go, go. And to the guys that have gone, that's fine, go. But then to want to come back and then double dip out of it, that's where the issue is. To the guys who have stayed, all the other guys who have stayed on the PGA Tour, these guys knew when they made the decision to go that decision was going to result in being banned, fines, and whatnot, and they still went. But then to now come back and try to sue just seems to me like exactly what you said. It seems double dipping. And remember, when you're suing the PGA Tour, you're not suing the tour; you're actually suing the players.
Well, exactly, and that's the most disappointing thing, because after listening to the questions proposed to Jay in these open talks, like you say, that money comes out of the prize pool and the money that's generated for the players. Yeah, so they're technically taking money away from us because all these fees for lawyers and like you say, that has to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, players are the PGA Tour, so it's disappointing. I heard Scotty say it, Scotty Scheffler say it this morning in his press conference. He's disappointed, and all the players are disappointed. Yeah, it's crazy, really. I mean, it's. I think it's gonna drag on for a while, if I'm being honest.
It is, and now today, actually just yesterday, we got some breaking news that it sounds like Cameron Percy was talking to a Melbourne TV station, radio station, and he said that Cam Smith and Mark Leishman are gone, which seems weird because, as you know, Cam Smith just won the Open. He's there this week, supposed to play this week. It seems a little strange to want to play that event knowing that you've obviously, maybe he hasn't signed the contract yet. He definitely hasn't hit a ball yet. I don't know what the technical, when you technically have gone, if you have to hit a shot or if you have to sign a contract, but it just seems a little weird. You think that's going to make for some tense interactions with Cam Smith and other players if he has in fact signed on with Live Golf and now still playing the PGA Tour event?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of who's going, and there's obviously rumors every week of new players who are going to sign.
But here's what's weird: most of the rumors, when you hear the rumor of a player, 9 times out of 10, they're really going. They go, which is
exactly.
It seems strange. The only ones that I think I've heard was the Callum Morikawa rumor ended up not being true. He didn't go. I've heard another few, but when we heard Reed, when we heard Bubba, when we heard DJ, when we hear these other rumors, these guys do end up going. And obviously, when the FedEx Cup is done, I think we're going to see a few more go.
Yeah, I do as well. And obviously, there's things like the President's Cup coming up. I think you might see more leave after that. It's crazy, and like you say, I don't even know what to say about it. It's crazy. These guys obviously, they've come out and said they're leaving so they can play less golf. But I mean, there's only one reason they're leaving. I mean, it's all down to money. Simple as that.
Right. Callum, have you been approached?
I have not.
You have not.
No.
Is it something you would be interested in, or are you happy on the PGA Tour?
No, I'm happy. I mean, like I said earlier, I always wanted to get to the PGA Tour and play on the PGA Tour. I want to do that, and I want to play majors, and I want to have a successful on the PGA Tour. So I'm happy, absolute 100% happy, and yeah, I honestly can't. To golfers listening out there or aspiring professionals, how good the PGA Tour is. It's so good. The golf courses, we get looked after. The organisation of things. Yes, there's a few things that could be better, and we all know that. But I think the PGA Tour as a whole are trying to address these things that they can get better at. And in time, But for me, I love it. I really do.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. That's awesome. Well, good luck this week at the at your first event there, the first playoff event, excuse me. And hopefully you have a great finish, move up those 34 places to play next week at the BMW, because I mean, this is the playoffs. This is time to do it. You can kind of set yourself up nicely for next year. Do you plan on playing some of the fall series events?
Yeah, I'm going to play as many as I can. Just looking at the schedule that was released last week, yeah, I plan on starting in Napa and playing quite a few of the fall events because a couple of reasons. One, I played them last year, and I know the golf courses. Obviously, didn't quite work out, but I feel as though I've got a good chance on them golf courses. There's not one that didn't suit me as a player, and I'm excited to get back there.
That's awesome. Before we let you go, we'll do a quick emergency 9 holes. I'm going to ask you 9 quick questions, and you just give me the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
Here we go. The best ball striker on the PGA Tour.
Zalatoris.
Your favorite sports team or athlete.
Liverpool Football Club.
Okay. Your go-to food on the road.
Thai food.
Okay. Are you going to find any of that in Memphis this week? I'm not sure.
Probably not. Probably not. But I always seem to find there always is a Thai in all the places we go. So I probably will.
Nice. Most famous phone number in your cell phone.
That is a great. Wow. I'd probably say this Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take Tyrrell. Player you'd most be nervous with to be paired on the PGA Tour, and there's only one name you can't say because everybody says the same name. Other than Tiger Woods, who would you most be nervous with to be paired on the tour?
Do they have to be playing right now, as in active, or
yeah. Why? Who else?
Well, I'd say someone like Jack or Arnie,
Oh yeah.
But I would say who would I be most nervous? I don't think I would be.
Really?
No, I honestly don't. I mean, I honestly don't think I would be.
All right, cool. If you weren't a pro golfer, what would you be doing?
I'd be a professional soccer player.
All right. Dumbest thing you've heard or seen from a pro-am partner? Or a fan. I'll even give you that, or a fan. Dumbest thing you've seen a fan do?
I actually had some long hair earlier this season, and someone shouted, "I love the lettuce," which cracked me up. I was like, "What?"
In the gym, cardio or weights?
Both.
Both. All right. And last but not least, music on the golf course, yes or no, and what genre?
Yes, and genre, anything. I'm across the spectrum.
I keep wishing, I wish you could put a little Bluetooth speaker in your bag and have some tunes playing on the tour, but I know that ain't ever happening.
Well, that would be nice, and then maybe like a limit of how many beers you can have each 9, or a choice of drink that you can take with you. Because
if that's the case, John Daly's coming back on the PGA Tour. If that's the case,
exactly. I mean, I think I'd perform really well at like maybe 2.5 or 3 beers a 9.
Okay, all right, that's not bad. Yeah, so you'd be better off that way.
Well, I don't know if I'd be better off, but I'd definitely be more. I'd be more free.
You'd have more fun.
Yeah.
Good deal. Callum, man, thank you so much, man. I tell you what, we will definitely be pulling for you this week there at the Fedex. And good luck this week and good luck hopefully next week and then moving on into the fall series. And we'll definitely talk to you again next year.
Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, it's awesome. And I like doing these things. So yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.